Kia ora koutou. I te taho tōku pāpā no Koroatia o Tipuna, I te taho tōku mama no Italy o Tipuna, no Horowhenua ahau, engari kei heretaunga ahau e noho ana. Ko Alice Beban tōku ingoa. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. I'm in the sociology program. My name's Alice. Have ancestry from Croatia and Italy. Italy's actually the red hair. We're right in the north of Italy, not the nice olive skin part, but the red hair, get sunburnt part. We are so fortunate today to be joined by an incredible group of Rangatahi from several schools around the Manawatu region. And these young people, as you saw this morning, are incredibly brave. I don't think I could have done what they are doing at that age. They got up in front of everyone, read out really personal poems that they created about issues that they care about. And today we're going to hear about the community collaborative projects that they have been working on. So this is all part of He Kaupapa Tūmanako. And we started, it's basically a labour of love for a group of us in sociology. And we have we've been really fortunate to have Dr Heather Meikle from the back there, hands up, Heather, join us. So we started it during COVID. So if you think back to 2020, 2021, suddenly everyone is at home, isolated. It was a really confusing time. And we were kind of like, gosh, not only is this confusing and horrible, but also we have the climate crisis and we have global conflict and we have, and how do we make sense of this all? And we had a lot of our students being like, what does hope even mean? How do I think about the future? And as we heard yesterday from our first speaker, there are different kinds of hope, right? So we think about blind optimism as that thing, I just won't look and it'll all be okay. Or what Zembilas, who's an education theorist, calls hokey hope, which is that thing of, we'll just pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and everything will be fine. That kind of individualistic narrative that we know doesn't work, or that sort of just recycle and it will be fine, right? Or hope deferred. Zembilas talks about hope deferred, which academics are really good at. It's that kind of, we're rooted in progressive ideals, but then we're so caught up in our own critique that we can't move to do anything because we critique any kind of action. And, critique's easy. Actions actually takes courage and bravery because nothing's going to be perfect. There's always going to be critique. So He Kaupapa Tūmanako works with students to look beyond hope as a sense of optimism. We take inspiration from the tradition of utopian sociology and mātauranga Māori, and we think about hope as uncertainty and possibility. And we develop hope through practices of engaging. So this is about hope as a practice. These students here have done our foundation course, and then we had people coming and saying, wait, we want to do more. And so we created a Leadership for Troubling Times course, and they have moved through the course this year. They get together in groups. They contact people from their schools or communities that help mentor them, and they then carry out action research projects. And this is about a different kind of vision of leadership that's rooted in collaboration, in whakapapa, whanaungatanga, reflection, relationships, and resilience. And so you might hear them talk about sticking points. One of the things that they're thinking about when they do their action projects is about constantly reflecting. And when they reach a sticking point, I also call it learning through failure, but sometimes failure doesn't sound good. So when they reach a sticking point, it's like, okay, we get back together, we come in, we rethink. Where do we go? Who do we need to talk with? Who do we need to help to actually move past this? So there's what they present today, their ongoing projects. It's about the process of learning and embodying leadership. And it is very much rooted in this reflective action sensibility. So we're going to hear from 4 different groups. Then we're so lucky to be joined also by Sophie Handford, who's going to speak after that. And then we're all going to take part in an interactive, hopeful practice at the end. So to start with, I would like to introduce the first group. This is the Native Tree Legacy Group from Rangatahi College.
Kia ora everyone, we are the Rangatahi College Native Tree Legacy Group and this is what we've been working on.
Tēnā koutou katoa. We are Group 2, the Rangatahi College Native Tree Legacy Group, and from Protect Hope, the He Kaupapa Tūmanako leadership course. And the issue that we have chosen for our project is making an outdoor classroom. We chose this issue as by the time we're in school, we have seen the lack of tree and nature in our school environment, which inspired us to make an outdoor classroom using tree and eco-friendly seating. An outdoor classroom is beneficial for school community and environment as it could use as a hangout place or outdoor classes to take a brief break from indoor classes and feel the outside environment while learning with nature surrounding. An outdoor classroom is more than a space in school. It could help student and teacher reduce stress, help with concentration, and make learning more enjoyable, especially for subjects that focus mainly on nature, such as horticulture and biology. Therefore, by creating an outdoor classroom, it is a great idea and the path of creating a greener and quality environment for our school future.
Project Hope has already made some exciting progress to bringing our vision to life. We've designed a full layout plan showing where each tree will be planted, and we've started building a list of businesses we'll approach for funding. To support this, we've created both an email draft and a brochure to share with those businesses, explaining our project and inviting them to be a part of it. We're also working on community involvement. A poster has been designed to go up around town, encouraging volunteers to join us in planting the trees. On top of that, we've reached out to local organisations and plant nurseries to gather advice, tips and tricks to make sure our planting is successful. So far, we've laid very strong foundations and are really excited to keep building momentum as this project grows.
Our next steps will focus on establishing timelines, engaging with local businesses and promoting our project within the community. Timelines and deadlines. We will create another project timeline to ensure that our project remains on track. This will include setting clear deadlines for soil preparation, contacting and meeting with businesses, and determining the sequence of events required to complete the project. Engagement with local businesses. To secure support, we will contact local businesses in Martin, such as Mitre 10, New World, and Fresh Choice. Initial outreach will be done via email, followed by in-person meetings. Businesses that contribute to our project will be acknowledged in a commemorative plaque and will be invited to attend our planting day as a gesture of appreciation. Community involvement and promotion. We are aiming to actively involve the Martin community in the planting of our outdoor classroom. To encourage participation, we will advertise the project by displaying posters in public spaces and local storefronts, highlighting opportunities for community members to join us on our planting day.
This harakeke plant was generously donated to us by Clifton Primary School. We are very fortunate to have the support of local schools who are willing to share their seedlings from their gardens to help with our project. This particular harakeke plant comes from the Te Ngāhere or Taumahi and will also be planted in our outdoor classroom to fill in all the spaces between our larger trees, adding both structural and life to the area.
This kōwhai tree was kindly donated to us by our school's enviro group and Mrs. Whitkin. We are very grateful for their support in allowing us to dig up the kōwhai saplings and replant them in our outdoor classroom. These trees will play an important role in our project by providing shade and height, which will also be welcoming for native birds like tui.
Thank you so much for listening to our project. We are all very keen to get it in the ground.
Amazing, thank you. And now we'll welcome up Kayla Alderson from Rangatahi College.
Morning everyone, my name is Kayla Alderson. This course He Kaupapa Tūmanako was a course that I did in last year. And then I did the 4-week course and then I did the 12-week course. So that took a lot of resilience from my family with the Zoom calls and stuff and the transport. My group's project was helping native bats and the awareness for them, because not many people know about them, as we soon found out. They are one of the less talked about ones, but they are becoming endangered. They're sort of vulnerable to endangerment or going extinct. We wanted to bring more awareness for bats, and not many people even knew, like in our school, that there were long-tailed and short-tailed bats of that species. We had quite a few sticking points, like who to contact, how to get there, any transport needed, and lots of how-tos, how to get stuff. We aimed to fundraise $250 for the Department of Conservation, because they were originally doing a bat project to help raise money and like save them and stuff. Me and my group, there were me and 2 others, and my mentor, which was extremely helpful. We mostly announced things through assemblies, and that took a while as well, and like slideshows. Yeah, we first wondered what we had to take action on, and one main thing that came up, which was animals, because we wanted to protect them and or save them, and that kind of thing. We aimed to fundraise $250, but we managed to go over that by raising we did a mufti day at school, and yeah. There was also a friendly competition run in houses kind of thing at school, and we got them to make posters on facts, and it would be judged based on the rareness of it. It's extremely important when we think of our native species, especially when they're endangered. We brought awareness to bats, one native mammal to New Zealand. And a few skills I learnt from both courses, the 12-week course and the 4-week course, were communication, teamwork, relationships, working together, problem solving. And it really put me out of my comfort zone, because I don't communicate well sometimes. And I sometimes prefer to do things alone, but having a group was definitely helpful. And so I'm so glad I've done the course, and it let me get help to, thank you for listening.
It's a pity you didn't have any of the pictures of the posters. The posters that they made for the poster competition were incredible. We are going to move on now to Ashley West from Horowhenua College, my old college in Levin.
Hello, everybody. I'm also not a group, just a person. Everyone else bailed on me. So, all right, no further ado. Mental health, bullying. We chose these issues because we're experiencing its effects firsthand. Bullying creates mental health struggles for even the toughest of us, affecting our family, friends, and even ourselves. We saw the people we love drifting from the things they loved, worn down from the pain of struggling alone. Friends that no longer come to school because of it, and teammates that were bullied out of their favourite sport. Being accepted is a basic human right. No one should have to feel that they are not loved. Have a supportive space where we can be known. No one should have to feel unsafe or that their personality isn't their own. So why is it happening? Through Project Hope, our group started a campaign we call Ink and Impact. We peeled back the layers of these problems and decided to create our safe space. With months of planning, endless Zoom meetings and endless emails, my team and I created our Ink and Impact workshops. Here, we found the beauty in our pain, turning our raw emotions into real artwork. We started with a soft launch, where we each brought a few friends and came together at our venue of Zeal in Kāpiti. This was when I first had the pleasure of meeting the fantastic girls that I've been virtually collaborating with, and it was quite fun. Some of the height differences were interesting, but it was amazing to finally put a face to the profile picture. I also met Toby and some other friends, and it was fascinating to learn about different issues and backgrounds from others' point of view. It was then that we first started creating, both friendships and artwork. Here you can see the starts of a few canvases and everybody hard at work. To this first workshop, everyone also brought a plate of kai, something that reflects us to share with the group. Sharing food together was a great icebreaker, and it really helped bring us all together. Now we meet once a fortnight, creating, eating, and sharing stories of our days. You can truly see the difference that we've made when eyes light up and smiles widen. We all eagerly await these sessions, keen to catch up again. It's incredible to see how such small actions can have such big differences. But what's really incredible is the fact that anyone can do this. A quick compliment to put a smile on someone's face, a kind gesture to brighten up their day, or a kind "are you okay" can be the difference between creating and collapsing. You can be a part of this too. Right now, I encourage you to turn to your neighbour, offer them a smile and give them a quick compliment. Uplift them with your positive words because it doesn't cost anything to, uplift them with your positive words because it doesn't cost anything to be kind. It may not change the world, but it'll change their world. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, the room just lit up when we all got to give compliments. A person at my kids' school just took their own life recently, so I think it's, so important. Lastly, Oliver Nix McCann from Aotearoa College. Welcome to the stage. Another solo presentation.
I was also abandoned by my team. So my name is Oliver, and I was a part of the Project Hope course for the 4-week and 12 weeks. During the 12-week course, I worked on a project with my group about homophobic bullying. The reason why was because I've actually had my friends experience homophobic bullying from both staff and students, and because of this, they have actually left school. And another reason is because people who have been victims of homophobic bullying in extreme cases can also develop mental health issues, and in some extreme cases can commit suicide. This way, or the way that we tackled it, the issue of homophobic bullying, was by educating both students and staff in an interactive workshop about inclusivity. At Aotearoa College, we educated them about the effects of their words and how powerful and dangerous their words can be, and also how positively it can affect someone's life if they are nice. We did this by, as you know, doing in a workshop where we had a large amount, a lot more students than we expected and staff coming over. We had roughly about maybe 10-ish staff and about another 15 or odd students. The reason why this is so important for us to be inclusive and accept people who are homophobic is because if people are not wanting to come to school because of homophobic bullying, they aren't going to want to learn, and it's extremely important for people to want to come to school and learn and make friends and be social. Otherwise, they will end up being like hermits at home, not ever leaving. So this is why I wanted to do this project, and I was a part of it.
That was amazing. Thank you to all 4 groups. Now we are very lucky to have Sophie Handford joining us. Sophie founded School Strikes for Climate, mobilising hundreds of thousands of people across the motu in support of climate action. And then at, I believe, 18, Sophie was elected as one of Aotearoa's youngest councillors, and she is on the Kāpiti Coast District Council and holds the climate and youth portfolios. So please give it up for Sophie.
Oh, cool. Kia ora mai, tātou katoa, ko Sophie tōwhaingoa, no paikakere kia hau. My name's Sophie, I come from just down the road, south a little on the Kāpiti Coast, and I'm stoked to be here with you all, and especially amongst some amazing stories of impact that are being led by Rangatahi from this region. So I just feel quite humbled to be able to be a witness to the impact that you're already making, and just want to celebrate you all for being brave enough to share that in front of a room of people who I know are cheering you on. So please know that this group of people are here to support you and back your projects into the future, I'm sure. And I can see nodding, so it's not just me kind of putting that on the room today. So as Alice mentioned, I helped to start the School Strike for Climate movement in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And what kind of led me to doing that on my journey to it was when I was 12 years old, so how long ago was that now? 13 years ago. My parents got a letter in the mail from our local council essentially saying that Whakakariki, being a seaside, geographically constrained community, was likely to be hit by the impact of climate change, sea level rise, coastal erosion, and that essentially that means we need to get prepared in whatever way that might look like for us as a whānau, but also as a village. And I remember seeing my parents, it's a vivid memory, you know, how sometimes you have this moment in your life that you can draw from, and for me it's a moment of curiosity that I reflect on to remind myself that that's in me, when sometimes in council it's an interesting space to be navigating. But essentially, yeah, my parents had just got this letter in the mail from the council about the climate change on Whakakariki. They were sitting there looking at each other, concerned. They were kind of breaking their heads as to what tangibly we needed to do now to ensure that the village that raised me, that raised my brother, that raised my dad as well, my dad was also born in Whakakariki, would be able to be inherited by generations that will follow us. Our mukapuna, their mukapuna's mukapuna. And so thinking about 7 generations and more that will follow from us. And so you could tell my parents were like, okay, this is an urgent crisis now, we've got to do something. And they were just looking concerned. And I remember thinking, well, why is no one talking about this? Me as a 12-year-old hearing about the climate crisis or climate change, and felt like that was the first time I had heard of this challenge that is caused by us as humans in our extractive nature and ways. And I just felt like, okay, we've got to get the conversation out there about this issue and about how we can see it as an opportunity to build the kind of world that we do want to pass on to future generations, so they're not terrified by it. I then invited my local member of parliament to speak to my primary school class and put the question very directly to him, that if as a 12-year-old I feel fearful and a sense of responsibility to protect my community, what do you feel? You're the one that holds the seat of power, you're in that seat, you've got those levers, what are you doing? And essentially his response was to turn me off to his climate change spokesperson. And that for me was like, okay, this is a systematic issue that we've got to get in there and bring some fresh thinking to and think outside of the box. So then through high school, I got really involved. I helped to coordinate the school's eco-action group. Again, I just feel deep in my bones, and it's so hard to even articulate to you, that this moment in time counts, and we all happen to be alive in what is one of the most pivotal moments in our globe's history. And that if we don't act within what is the decisive decade of climate action to have halved our emissions by 2030, no other society alive at any moment in time had the same opportunity that we have right now. And so what are we doing about it? How are we speaking into that? How are we living into that? And so when I graduated high school, I was about to go to uni, I got all my paperwork done. And then again, I just was struck by this realization that, do I even have time to go to uni? You know, when the water is rising, it's on the doorsteps already of those in the Pacific Islands, Tuvalu, Tokelau, already talking about being made into meta countries, literally being transferred into the metaverse to preserve their cultures and their homelands. And so I thought, okay, there must be other young people feeling the same way. How do we find each other? How do we kind of channel this fear into action? And so that's when the School Strike for Climate was born. The youngest member of our team was 8 years old. The oldest was myself at around 18. And we managed to get 170,000 people out on the streets for climate justice. We had 290 businesses close their doors for the day and come out and join us. We had the unions right across the board, Air2, the CTU. We had the PSA, we had the education unions. They joined us. We had like $3,000. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to arrange traffic management or contact police. But we made it happen because we knew we had to, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. And there is a will, right? Like we know we need to protect this planet, save this planet for future generations. So a roundabout way of saying, I then felt so inspired by what we culminated on the streets, this massive amount of energy and ambition, and the sense of, okay, things don't have to be the way they've always been. And if we keep trying to use the same tools or the same solutions that we seem to coin, whether it be for the cost of living and therefore decreasing the price of oil and gas and allowing more of it to be, explored for and extracted. If we keep trying to use those same tools that have gotten us into the climate crisis to get us out, we're just going to keep digging further and further. And so I decided to run for council to try and represent kind of that sense of aspiration and that sense of possibility and potential for what can happen, especially if there's different ways of thinking around our decision-making tables. None of my campaign team could vote for me. They were either too young or lived in different parts of the area. My campaign manager was 16 years of age. I was up against 2 middle-aged men, one of whom owned 3 businesses in the area I was standing to represent. And I got more than 50% of the vote between the 3 of them. So honestly, anything is possible. I am also the most nervous human being on the planet. I get so nervous when I stand up and speak things like this, but something that I remind myself and to all of you who just shared so courageously in front of the room is that when your heart is beating really fast or really strongly, that actually means your heart is knocking. And you need to say what's on your heart. So just open your mouth and the right words will come out that will hopefully connect and resonate with the people in the room. So I now have been sitting on the Kāpiti Coast District Council for 6 years. The next youngest person around our table is 55, so 30-year age gap. But we get along really well, right? And it was talked to this morning, this kind of sense of intergenerational decision-making and solutions. Our planet needs that, and so I would just encourage you all to kind of find the courage to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and learn how to swim, because that's what I've had to do. And we've done some amazing things. We've set a district-wide net zero target of 2040. We've got a community roadmap to get there. We've established an affordable housing entity, and we've got an amazing crew of people working already to provide affordable housing to folk in Aotearoa. We've massively increased investment into cycleways and walkways to enable people to get around safely. We've enabled more intensification around our train stations. We've become a living wage accredited council, the first ever district council to become a living wage accredited employer. So, and all of these things were just kind of little dreams that I had and wanted to try and make happen, and kind of very messily and very badly in some cases have managed to pull it all off. So I just, massive encouragement to just, to go create the change that our people and planet really need, and just keep doing it no matter how many people tell you that you're too young, you can't, you don't have the resource, you don't have the confidence. Just keep going, because it needs to happen. That's me.
Thank you so much. Incredible. So we have about a couple of minutes for have a bit of a discussion, questions, and then we're going to break into groups and do an interactive exercise. Who would like to ask a question, comment?
I'm Anita, and I'm very inspiring to me. I just had a question. As a young person in council and being a woman in their own experience, what are some of the, you've made so many remarkable changes. What are some of the challenges that you face in this role, and how did you overcome it to get this inspiring change?
Yeah, there definitely have been some hearing on a couple of instances where I've overheard some of my colleagues saying things about me that I didn't appreciate, that hurt. But I think for me it's about having the kind of strength of my entity to be able to kind of call that out and to be able to approach them and kind of help them on their learning journey as well. Because I think, sometimes people have, biases or ways of thinking based off of how they've been brought up that maybe they might not even be aware of, but that comes through in the way that they lead. And so I think being gentle and kind to support them to come to a different understanding of who I am. I have felt like I've had to work double time to prove myself, 100%. And that's meant that sometimes I'm tired and burnt out. I'm not much good to my partner or my family. And so I think for me it has been also really aware of those moments where I had to kind of remove myself from the situation, even making with fresh eyes and a fresh approach. But ultimately I just persevere because I know, or I hope anyway, that in doing this, it's going to be easier for other young women coming through. And I think there does have to be, some of us that get in there and kind of, endure the discomfort so that those who follow hopefully have an easier road to get. So that really gets me going. And also just another whole film with kindness thing, like just smile and like appreciate them for who they are and acknowledge that we may have disagreements, but there is a person. Like I think most people stand for council or get into council because they have a genuine care for the community in some way. Might be a different facet to me, it might be based on different issues, but I think that basically all the steps is really important. Yeah.
One more? Yeah, Graham.
First of all, well, thanks for the young people for their amazing story. Just incredibly inspiring. I just want to ask maybe if some of you maybe really, I'm not going to put you on the spot yet again, but if it's like from the Netherlands, I have a 13-year-old daughter who's also struggling with these same issues, right, on the other side of the world. What would you say, or what would you think, like, if you want to say something that I could bring to the Netherlands, to her and her friends, something that they can learn from Project Hope, or how they can maybe start things like that themselves?
I was just saying that whenever two guys start, if you have your mindset and you have the will, then you have it. So don't let anyone follow you, don't let anyone put you down, and if you really believe it, it's heart. She wants to join Project Hope next year. We don't have to get tough for us. Right.
Yeah, we actually do have people from other countries that have joined in, which is one of the best parts of it. It's all about the relationships that people make and lift each other up. Yeah, okay, we know. Next year, she's joining. Awesome. Okay, what we're going to do now is we are going to do our own slam poems. So, we're going to break into groups. This is a collaborative exercise. So can you all organise yourselves? I suggest you sort of turn around, maybe kind of 5 people or so to a group. And then if the students, if you guys could kind of go around, so there's a couple of you per group, that might work out really well. Okay, hand out chemistry. Okay. So this is a really quick fire practice of creativity. So when we think about practices of hope, sometimes we forget about creativity, but we want to make sure that, it's about joy and creativity and working together. And so creating a slam poem about something you're pissed off or angry about, and then creating that call to action at the end can be an incredibly powerful collaborative exercise. So we're going to go through and we're going to do this together. So number 1, and I'll quickly take you through how this works and then you'll do it. First of all, you think of something you're angry or passionate about, and you will need to agree within your group on one topic, right? So that's tricky. Do that in a couple of minutes. Then you're going to boil that issue down to a few words so you can write about it in one short phrase. If you have a look at the example here by Nikki Truman, she was pissed off about the damage to the ecosystem, and her phrase was, "We have damaged the ecosystem." So then we write that down and we leave a space. So that's your refrain, the bit you come back to. And then you're going to brainstorm why or how you're angry about this thing, and you're going to write those points in between. So those are your verses. So, for example, you could each come up with one point, might be a good way of doing it. And then at the end, you're going to end with a call to action, something positive that you want to see happen in response to this issue that you're angry about, or a change you yourself will make. So we'll give it a couple of minutes first to come up with that one topic, okay? So 2 minutes, have a chat in your group, decide on one thing, go. I can see some groups have agreed on an issue. This group here is very much in agreement. Look at you working together. So Once you've agreed on your issue, you move down to number 2. So take it in your own time. See if you can get that one phrase, your refrain. Okay, I'm just checking in that we are getting our verses down. So you should be doing number 3, 4 by now. Yeah, see if everyone can come up with a verse. We call it a verse, but it's just one line. And then move on to number 5, your call to action. So we have another minute. You're thinking about your call to action, and then you're thinking about how you're going to present your poem. You might choose to do a line each. You might choose one person. You might do an interpretive dance. Up to you. I'm very excited. There's community economies actually in progress being created over here. This group wants to have a plastic mascot. If anyone has something, oh, my terrible plastic water bottle, you could have that. Okay, here's the moment. Who's going to present first? Who's putting their hands up? Oh, group at the back. Okay. Oh, you've got your plastic water bottle. Okay, take it away. Here's our first presentation.
Be angry.
Go.
Go.
Too much freaking plastic. It's even in our brains. Too much freaking plastic.
That's because it kills.
Too much freaking plastic.
Our leaders have no spine.
Too much freaking plastic.
We are drowning in it.
Too much freaking plastic.
Stop making this shit. Awesome. I love it. They were like, can we spare enough here? Okay. Who's next? Ashley's group. Okay.
This is my one that was very impressive. I take it follow. But we've also done the topic of plastic. Plastic is poisoning our planet. What if 200 pointers for choosing to use? Plastic is poisoning our planet. Mocking the fish with our soy for planets. Plastic is poisoning our planet. Single use but in sky. Plastic is poisoning our planet. We know the problem, so why so we're to change. Plastic is poisoning our planet. Accountability, everyone. Woo! Amazing, thank you. How about Bethany's group? Oh, okay. We'll come to our community economies group over here.
Oh yeah, that's moving rocks.
The money has taken control. The rich get richer while the poor are getting poorer. The money
has taken control. It's like the dam to a river. Money is taking control. It does not balance without people.
The money is taking control. System fair for all. Woo! I loved how it grew by the end.
Yeah, the richer.
Yeah. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's not finished, it's always a work in progress.
Yes. Right.
No one should be hungry.
Replace the valleys and bodies.
No one should be hungry.
Not for profit, not for corporate profit.
No one should be hungry.
And not landfill and the better bill, not lining pockets and mining pockets.
No one should be hungry. Redistribute. We should make it lower. Oh no, sorry. We need to talk for the working poor. We need to talk for the working poor.
No one
should be hungry.
We should make it law. Our world is what food is for.
I love the line about the people profits and people pockets. They're awesome. You know what I just realised? Also, they're all like a little microcosm of all the talks that we've had and all that stuff. No, they're great. It's like a way to process it together, right? Thank you so much. Thank you. And a big round of applause again to Sophie.